Welcome back to the Mental Toughness and Body Show, where we talk all things physical strength, mental resilience, and sustainable health. Today's guest is Dr. Catherine Bacus, founder of Alevia Medical Weight Loss, Australia's leading clinic in medical obesity management. She combines clinical expertise with a deep understanding of the psychological and lifestyle factors that influence long-term weight loss, which is so critical. In today's episode, we're going to explore the medical side of obesity, what truly drives sustainable change, and how that right mix of support can transform lives. Catherine, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Rob. It's great to be here today, and I'm looking forward to today's chat.
Yeah, so I mean, on this show, I talk about all kinds of different things, and obviously, the space that I work in is not from a surgical perspective or a medical perspective. So it's great to have you on the show so that we can talk about some of this stuff and to give the listeners if you like, the nuts and bolts of the reality behind all this. My first question is though, why did you choose this field? What
Yeah.
is it about this?
Oh, look, I think one of the things I'm passionate about is helping people find their superpowers. And I think for this is my area of expertise and my superpowers. And it's because it combines relationships with people, which I love. I love understanding people, supporting them, caring for them, across their sort of lifespan, together with my scientific medical background, which is an understanding the complexities of how the human body works. And I had lots of patients kind of asking me in my days in general practice, how do I lose weight? How do I keep it off? And, often people have tried so many things on their own and done every diet under the sun, and it still didn't work.
Mm.
And silly me, I thought I had all the answers. I'd just write a lifestyle program and help people to change their food and nutrition, their sleep and their exercise, and that would be all there was to it. And it's true that those things are super important, but the more I researched and understood about the causes of obesity, the more I realized is that, yes, it is all in our head, but not in the way we think. In
Mm.
other words, in our head is where our appetite center is situated, and it's a big part of our weight is actually regulated by our brain.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like this light bulb moment for me going, okay, so this is not just about people not having enough willpower or not having enough, it's not about laziness or lack of
It's not
willpower.
about motivation.
Exactly. It's really similar to how we used to think about mental health. That used to be seen as, a fault or failing of an individual until we really understood the biochemistry of what's causing it, and we need a holistic approach. And same thing with weight. And it excited me, and I love seeing the transformation and change in people and them getting their health back. So that's a very long answer.
No,
Long
that's
answer
okay.
to
I'm
your
sure it could go
question.
on for much longer if you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
Maybe let's give people a bit of an idea of the work that you do in your clinics,
Yeah.
because people, like if you think about medical obesity, I mean, it's a very topical at the moment, as Ozempic here in
Yeah.
Australia. It's crazy what they're doing with it in the US.
Yes.
But, and people think about gastric sleeves, gastric bands, all that kind of stuff. So maybe
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what you do in Alevia.
Yeah, so we've got a group of 15 GPs, two dietitians, and exercise physiologists and mental health workers that we work with. But basically, we help people who want to reclaim their life back and improve their health. So where we fit is between people who have done the lifestyle things on their own and struggled or not been a responder to that, and bariatric surgery. We don't do surgery, but we help prepare people for surgery who need it. We fit in that space where people need some more intensive support around their health. But we do all of those lifestyle components. So we've got nutritional advice from our dietitians. We've got a lifestyle program. We work with the exercise physiologists. But as medical doctors, we can assess for the health conditions that cause obesity, give really effective treatments for sort of dialing down that hunger and appetite, which makes it much easier for patients to put into practice the things that they want to do, which is to eat well, exercise, and lose weight to achieve their best health.
Is there a BMI requirement
Yeah,
to?
so a lot of the treatments actually are recommended for patients who have a BMI of 30 and above, or
Right.
27 and above with weight-related complications like sleep apnea, knee pain, PCOS, etc. But we take everyone on their merits as well. So there's some people who, might have a BMI of 26.9, but they've put on 10 or 15 kilos in the last year or so, and that's significant. Right. So those are our guidelines, and that's where the medications are approved for. But we look at the individual story as well.
Is there a standard, okay, when somebody comes in so you can get a full picture, you want to do a full set of blood tests and that kind of thing? Is that?
Yeah. So when someone comes in, we'll do a body composition analysis to look at their muscle mass and fat mass and give us a good picture of where they're at now. Because
Are you using DEXA for that? Are you doing DEXA scans for those?
Yes. Yeah, we are. Yeah. Sorry, bioimpedance. So yeah, you've got the X-ray DEXA, and we can refer off for that, but we do the bioimpedance, which is where a small little electrical impulse is sent through the body and returns at different rates depending on fat or muscle or water. And that gives a really good approximation, actually. They're $12,000 machines. They're not cheap. So they're really better than your little scales you got at home in the bathroom. Yeah. And because what we want to do is make sure that we're losing weight from the right areas, because Arnold Schwarzenegger had a BMI of 30 when he was at, his weightlifting peak. So technically that's obesity. So we want to make sure that we're losing it from the fat mass and not the all-important muscle mass.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Great. So tell me then, what do you see as, because we live in such a weird world now compared to even like I've been in the industry now 37 years, but golly, for the last 16 years, and you think the impact of social media, which is very detrimental in how people perceive what they should look like. And like just in the last probably 4 months with AI and the number of AI stuff that for people's bodies that you see online, it just, no joke, had an ad, I don't know if you've seen it, an ad that came through my Instagram reels last night that is actually called something like steroid photo improver or something like that. So in other words, you upload a video of yourself and it's like I could rip off my shirt right now and underneath that is a steroid body that is obviously not you. It's like, why? Like, who's buying that, and what is that sending to the signals to our brains? So I suppose with all of that, for you, what do you define as success for your clients?
Yeah, it's not really the number on the scales. It's tempting to go there. Our patients want to go there and say, I want to be this weight. But we look at, well, what's going to be better for you when you get to that weight? Or what are you hoping to achieve? Like, why is this important to you? And, for some people, it's, I just want to feel comfortable in my clothes, or I want to be able to shop in the normal size clothes, or I want to be able to run around with my children or my grandchildren, get up and down off the floor and play with them. Or some people have had some health complications, they're getting knee pain and osteoarthritis, or they've got type 2 diabetes or sleep apnea. They're trying to improve those health outcomes. For us, it's about also attaining those higher levels of health, which is joy, belonging, a sense of comfort in themselves. So it's about their physical health, but also that mental health and body acceptance, because losing weight doesn't necessarily improve your self-esteem. For some people it does, but there might be other things at play there. And so we look at those things as well.
How hard do you find it to work on what I call someone's why? You're like, what? So, they come in and they say, well, I want to look like, this, the number on the scales or whatever, and actually getting them to clearly articulate. So why do you want to achieve that? What's important for you?
I love doing
really
that.
challenging with my clients.
I love doing that, and maybe I hound my patients a little too much in that area, but that's really important to me because that's the motivation behind why they're coming in, and I want to get on board with their why. But also sometimes I challenge their why, because if it comes from a place of, well, I'm only good enough if I get to X weight, I'm going to challenge that belief, and get them to focus on what they're going to benefit from, and the health improvements.
I had somebody that came in to see me just in the last week, and I challenged their why because I said, that's a really great goal, but I said all the reasons you've told me as to why it's important relate to other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, of this person and because of that and the kids, the husband, all that kind of stuff. And I said,
Yeah.
none of these relate to you, which
Yeah.
means what she wanted to achieve
That's right.
was incredibly difficult, like a physical challenge. I said, you're going to get to that breaking point, and if your why is only based on those people, I said it will fall over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she didn't like that. No,
Yeah.
no one I think has ever put
Yeah.
something to her that way before.
Yeah. Well, that's a good place to be, and it may be that it plants the seed to kind of her to self-reflect. It may not be that she's ready for that change now, but at some point down the track, she's like, that wrong.
Yeah,
You knew
yeah,
something.
that's right. So we all know that like doctors are so under the pump, like our GPs are so pummeled all around the world, and like COVID, there's no chance for them to recover post-COVID, and this goes from one thing to the next, and we're going from autumn into winter here, and the case is going to go up again. How do you go about like running your clinic as well as
Yeah.
making that successful as way as seeing all your
Yeah,
patients?
well, that's the great thing, is that I chose to focus on weight loss alone. This is my passion and my subspecialty, and all of our GPs at Alevia, just when they're here, they just do weight management, which means we can make it the sole focus and the primary focus. We're not, I'm not seeing kids who've got a fever of 40 degrees. I don't have a patient with chest pain in the waiting room. So
Yeah.
that affords us the time, and which means we can sit with patients, understand their story, understand the drivers of weight for them, counsel them, give them the best advice, give them the effective treatments, and it's all just focused on them. So it
Mm.
works. Not every GP practice is like that. Some have GPs in their clinic doing weight management, but juggling all those other things at the same time. So horses for courses. There's different ways, many different ways of doing this, but this model of just doing weight management and focusing on that one area really works for the patients.
What, given where you are and how much you've grown in your business and your clinics and so forth, I mean, are you all over Australia now?
Yeah,
Like,
so we're in 3 clinics in Melbourne, so in Wantirna, East Melbourne, and Holmesglen down in Moorabbin, and one in Adelaide as well. So we've got a
okay,
mission to sort of reach as much of Australia as we can, and as much as many patients that need our service. We do telehealth for all over Australia, which is great, but patients can get a Medicare rebate if they pop in to see us at one of our clinics.
okay. Well, I was about to say, what's next for you? What's next
Yeah.
to grow?
We actually probably somewhere down your way, Rob. We're looking at expanding into the southeast of Melbourne. Yeah, once I've just stepped back from clinical consulting just last week, actually, with a view to focusing on mentoring my doctors, growing our clinic, patient advocacy. So there's a lot of patients who are struggling with the cost of medications, and we're wanting to sort of make number one, have obesity recognized as a disease, and number two, get accessibility to to more affordable
Funding.
treatments. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my key focus at the moment. And so expanding into Southeast Victoria, and then hopefully Sydney and Brisbane after that.
Yeah, nice. You mentioned earlier that you work with it. You don't do the surgery, but you work with the bariatric
Yeah.
surgeons and so
Yeah.
forth. Um, there's certainly a perception that I have based on the conversations I've had with clients. I've got clients that have come to me after the surgery, clients that have come to me and then wanted the surgery because they want to lose over 100 kilos or whatever and
Yeah.
so forth. I hear some horrific stories of the lack of pre and post care,
Mm.
if you like.
Mm.
Just curious as to do you only have certain surgeons that you would work with? And I guess
Yeah.
it's like anything, not everybody is created equally, but do
Yes.
you see a problem in the
Yeah.
industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's certainly different levels of service and care. Surgeons that have a wraparound team around them of, dietitians and psychologists and have a follow-up program are the ones that you want to be associated with. I mean, we partner with some really high quality surgeons, and so we will often prepare patients for surgery. When I say prepare, that's what that looks like, is that a patient might come in and say, well, I don't want to have surgery. I want to do everything but surgery. And we'll work through the medical options. And in a lot of cases, that works and they don't need surgery. But some say, well, you know what, I've actually given this a shot now, and I think that I really do need to have surgery. I've got more weight to get off, or I can't afford or tolerate the medications, or they want to do something that's a bit more definitive, then the surgery is an option. So we'll do the pre-workup for that, and then the post bariatric care. So we screen for nutritional deficiencies, we help them with their diet, exercise, and if they do need any rescue medication on the other side, we can do that. But we help to optimize the outcome so that they get the best possible outcome from their surgery. And so, yeah, there's different levels. There's a bit of a saying out there in surgery circles, which is not great, but, you know, some surgeons sleeve them and leave them, which is to do a gastric sleeve and they're right. Not a big fan of that kind of attitude, but most of our surgeons are highly skilled and know that follow-up care is really important. But then there's also the patient side where, you know, this is a chronic disease. It requires, you know, that commitment to follow-up care as well, and coming in and having a yearly review as well, which is kind of hard when you're feeling well and doesn't seem like there's anything wrong, but there could be some nutritional deficiencies kind of creeping in that they're not really getting symptoms of yet until they're 80 and have an osteoporotic fracture. So it's one of those things that you need a combination of a good surgeon, a patient that's aware of the need for ongoing care, and a team that can wrap around them.
What do you see as perhaps the future in this space? Is it people just relying on a better pill, a better injection, or something like that, so there's not the need to have such invasive surgery? Like where, and maybe perhaps even the use of AI, where do you see it heading?
There's a lot of exciting opportunities in terms of there are better treatment options becoming available. There's a pipeline of about 123 different drugs that are being proposed for the treatment of obesity, and some of them with, you know, even better outcomes than the drugs that we currently have available, kind of rivaling bariatric surgery. So there are some exciting developments there in terms of highly effective treatment options that will rival surgery. I think there'll always be a place for bariatric surgery because it has a role in the sort of treatment of more severe obesity and has a more enduring effect, whereas medications are required as a lifelong treatment. Wouldn't it be nice if we could kind of dial back the clock to sort of 1920s, 1960s or 70s, where we didn't have an obesogenic environment? I think that's one of our biggest challenges, is the lifestyle that we live in now. And for patients who are genetically prone to weight, in other words, if they live with a higher level of hunger and appetite, in an obesogenic environment where you've got fast food available and the quickest and easiest meal is often high carb, high calorie, it's really hard to keep your weight steady in that kind of environment. There's no simple answer to that, and there are numerous people who've put their heads together to look at, do we look at sugar taxes? Do we look at our you know, environment to make sure we've got bike paths so we can be, you know, more mobile and active? Do we you know, there's so many different
Elements to
it. You can't say there's one simple solution. So I think if we had the biggest impact, it'd be look at prevention and our obesogenic environment. But I don't hold a lot of hope that we're going to reverse, you know, our
It seems
environment.
hard, doesn't it?
So then we have to look at how do we prevent as much as we can, treat those who are living with obesity and the impairment that comes with that in the most cost-effective way that we can. But AI has got a great role to play. We're using AI for some of our meal plans and recipe generation. We've got a members portal where we can provide lifestyle advice and exercise, and, you know, AI helps to collate that and spit out personalized advice for patients. So, yeah.
Are we at a stage where like you're using AI for like blood analysis and that kind of stuff, or it's just not there yet?
Not as yet, no. Still relying
It's
on.
exciting though. I think it's like in your or my lifetime, I mean, with the exception of the internet, I think AI is way more exciting than the internet, and it's just the speed that it's just getting bigger and better and faster is just incredible.
Yeah, I think what we want to do is that our brains, there's an overload of information out there. There's not a lack of information. What
Mm,
we need to use our brains for is what we can only uniquely do, which is to interpret that and provide personalized solutions for patients. So yeah, we'll let the AI do the heavy lifting of some of the thinking, but it's the how do I interpret this and personalize for you in front of me.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Conscious of the time, and we've got a few questions, just got a few more questions left because you've got to
Yeah,
get to the next appointment. I'm always intrigued by people that run successful businesses like you at a fast-paced life, and there's always something to do, right?
yeah.
What's a typical day of health and wellness in your daily routine look like?
Yep. So got up this morning at 6:15 and went to Keiza and did my workout. I do a strength-based workout twice a week. I do a bit of volunteering with my kids at their soccer club, so get involved in that.
Running around.
Which is yeah, lots of running around. I actually have really I tried to batch my kind of tasks that I do, so I'm doing similar things together so that I'm not task switching all the time because there are so many things on my plate. I try and keep my brain in the right zone to do my creative work in the morning, and then the stuff that doesn't require a lot of brain power for me in the afternoon. Which leaves me time to hang out with my kids and prepare dinner. And then in the evening, sometimes I'll have some meetings to attend or some presentations to give in the evening. And my bath is my favorite place for winding down relaxation.
Yeah, me too. I love a hot bath.
It's amazing. Oh, and the other secret sauce is just getting away into nature. So, you know, Marysville is my favorite place on the earth to be, up in, yeah, northeastern Victoria, and just sitting by a creek and listening to the creek. That's floats my boat.
Sounds
Mm.
lovely. What would you say is really important to you right now?
Hmm. The most important thing to me right now is actually ensuring that with the unique gifts and talents that I've been given, that I use those to the best of my ability so that I'm doing work that I love every day and minimizing the stuff that I'm not really good at and making sure that people who are good at that are doing it. I love connecting with people. I love having chats like this and talking about my area of passion and educating people. I love understanding people and what makes them tick so I can help them more. So solving problems, but sometimes when you, especially when I was consulting with patients, when we found that little, you know, key in the lock and it unlocked a new understanding. For example, when, you know, for the first time we've diagnosed ADHD and a person goes, oh my God, that makes so much sense of my life. And now that I know that I can do this and fix it, that's just so rewarding. So I think it's just the most important thing to me right now is figuring out what am I good at and how can I do more of that stuff that makes me sing.
Yeah, nice. So
Mm.
when it's all done, what do you think you'd like your legacy to be?
Mm. Oh, my
Is there
leg.
something bigger for you than,
Yeah,
I don't mean say just weight loss, but
yeah, yeah.
is there something bigger?
I think this kind of infuses into every aspect of my life, but it's to um, you know, in a family, it's a legacy of love, is the word that's coming to mind. You know, love of my family and helping my kids to be the best that they can be. Creating a space where patients can come and they feel a sense of acceptance and non-judgment. They can actually get evidence-based care for their condition, and creating an environment where my staff can thrive and grow. So yeah, I think it's about a legacy of love and growth. And if we can make it just a little bit easier for patients to access non-judgmental care in this area, that would be awesome.
That's an interesting point, isn't it? Because there still is a big stigma. I'm seeing it
Mhm.
more and more now where my clients tell me that like I've seen them before or they've come in and they've had surgery.
Yeah.
And when they don't want to tell people
Hmm.
about what's happened, and people say, "Oh, are you sick? Have you got cancer? Have you,
Yeah.
you know, what's happened?" And they don't want to tell them because there's, oh, okay, you did it the easy way. You know, and
Oh, grr.
so
Yeah.
it's a horrible place for people.
Mm.
to be with there's a lot of judgment around it.
Yeah, there sure is. Until people fully understand the biology and genetics of what drives weight, there's still going to be that. So that's part of our mission, is to reduce that stigma and to help people understand that 40 to 70% of a person's weight is down to their genetics. There's no personal choice about that. You don't choose your DNA. It just leaves you with a predisposition. Sure, there's a big chunk that's still lifestyle driven, but it's about trying to recognize the brain controls the weight. The body has a desire to fight back against weight loss. It actively defends a set point of weight. So people who are living with overweight and obesity don't choose to be that way. They're doing their best, and they need access to care in much the same way as someone with, depression or
Mental health
epilepsy
issue, yeah.
needs that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Catherine, this has been awesome. I am going to put some links below so how people can reach out to you on your website. Before we hit record, you were saying that you do offer a free consultation and so forth. So maybe do you just want to talk about how people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, so we'll drop the links there, but we do a 45-minute to 1 hour bulk bill consultation for our initial consult when you come in to see us. And that way you can kind of get a sense of who we are and what we're about and if we can help you, which we can. And so, yeah, we'll drop the links in there. And if you'd like to reach out, you can book at one of our clinics. We'd love to get to know you, understand who you are and how we can help you, and hopefully help you to achieve the healthiest version of yourself.
So here's a question. If somebody, let's just say that you've got, well, you said you've got clinics in Melbourne and Adelaide,
Yeah.
can someone travel interstate to work with
Yeah.
you? As a, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And often, we've got patients who live in Brisbane. They're down in Melbourne for a work event. They pop in and we just do a brief bulk bill consult and kind of tick the Medicare box for them. And then we go about doing telehealth for the rest of the year. So that's definitely possible.
Yeah, fantastic.
Mm.
All right. I know you've got a few minutes left to get onto your call. So
Yeah,
this has been fantastic. Thank you
been great to chat.
for having the conversation with me and just letting people know a little bit more about this space because it is a bit overwhelming. And I'm
Yeah.
sure like I hear clients talk about Ozempic and, that's
Mhm.
just one option and it's not necessarily right for everybody. So I think having somewhere trusted that you can go to have all your questions answered. A free consultation, so I think is amazing. So I'm going to give you the closing word in a second, but thank you so much for the conversation today. I wanted to ask you, what is the best advice you've ever received?
This too shall pass, which is that whether you've got something really crappy going on or something really good, enjoy it if it's good. Don't linger if it's crappy, because this too shall pass. Enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I love that. The sun will come up tomorrow, even if
Yep,
it's a bad day today.
exactly. And I just want to wish all your listeners all the very best as well. They're clearly, engaged with you and focusing on their physical and mental health as well. So well done for curating a great audience, and just want to wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Catherine.
No worries at all. Thanks, Rob.